Trump changed the dependent age from 18 to 7. So that means everybody in my household that's over 7 ain't going to school. They're going to get a job.
Whew, what a time to be alive. Today's video is about the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and just to debunk some misconceptions around the age of dependence.
Trump is changing the dependent age from 18 to 7. So I just need to know in August, are we sending them back to school or are we sending them to work? Because if the dependent age is now 7, you trying to say they dependent. If I'm not mistaken, back in the day, they used to work at that age, right? So is he trying to tell us that they need to go back to work? Because I don't think Trump know that these kids ain't regular kids. These kids will flip out if they ain't got they tablets. Now, is we putting them in IT? Is we teaching them kids how to code? They might like that. They might like that. We're going to have to figure out them some jobs because they ain't going to do regular jobs. They barely listen to them teachers. Like, these employers is about to catch hell. They going to be babysitters. And don't put me at the same company as my kids. I don't want to work with them. I already got to be with them at home. Like, y'all done already took them out of school, so now y'all want them to work, and then don't put them as the same company as me. Like, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. Like, and how much is you paying these kids? Because if you my 7-year-old he needs to get paid well.
All right, so then who's not going to get paid well? Because there's always going to be the haves and the have-nots, right? Mind you, it's not really clear in the proposed bill where like it says that the kids are going to have to start working. I checked online and I couldn't find anything about that where it says that the kids are going to have to start working. But y'all feel free to provide any links that you find down in the comments below. I'll be very happy to learn.
But he can't work for pennies. So that ain't going to work either. Then you can't even disrespect that kids, because now they got to leave their job to go to this job. They're going to probably, oh my Lord, Trump ain't thinking this out. He ain't thinking this out clearly. And then the big families is definitely going to get the most, like, to hit the most. Like them single parents, they got like 8, 9, 10 kids. They going to feel it the most.
Yeah, so she said something about like the tablets and these aren't regular kids. I mean, like, that's not a good thing that like the kids are going to flip out if they don't have their tablets. That, in my opinion, is not good, right? I'm guilty. I have kids as well, 4 kids myself. And sometimes they become too much, right? And you just give them the tablets. But I don't think that that's the best style of parenting. And I'm still working on it to improve as well. But first of all, she's talking about her kids not being paid pennies. And then we all know that there's always going to be someone. There's always going to be like the janitors and like the people that have to do that work, right? The low income work. That's just capitalism. That's the pyramid scheme. So if you don't want your kids making pennies, like, it's best that you give them the best chance of success, right? So give them the best chance of success. Marry before you carry as much as possible, because studies have shown that like children raised in 2-parent households, they have like lower rates of being like incarcerated, and usually they turn out better. I mean, I can provide the studies as well, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. And then secondly, like, who the heck has 8, 9, 10 kids and is a single parent? And why would anybody put themselves in such a predicament? It just sounds like they're setting themselves up to fail, in my opinion.
Y'all, I don't have kids, so this is probably not my anything I should be speaking on, but it is at the same time because it does involve all of us in this world, in the U.S., really. But if y'all seen today, they are talking about lowering the dependent age of a child from 18 to 7. 7 years old. Just because the workforce is dwindling and blah, blah, blah. 7. Aren't you basically like just getting out of kindergarten into middle school? You know, no, not middle school, but like getting out of kindergarten, going to elementary school.
Wow, the entitlement. I guess this is the privilege of being born in a first world country, right? I myself being born in a third world country, right? This kind of almost enrages me, like the sense of entitlement. Like, so people are upset because they're changing the dependency age from 18. So meaning that the government, they're like responsible for your kids. from 0 until 18, and now they've changed it from 0 to 7. But ma'am, you need to travel to other parts of the world, right? And I know it's not an excuse. Just because other people have it worse, it doesn't mean that you can have it good, right? I get it, but you're still having from 0 to 7. Like, that is not nothing. So what are you doing with that opportunity? Because it is an opportunity for the government to fund your lifestyle and your kids from 0 to 7. That is a massive leg up that many in other parts of the world they will kill to have. And then there you are, like, lamenting about the luxurious lifestyle that you have, albeit it's being reduced, but still, I mean, just don't get me started. Don't get me started. And then after watching all these clips, you would think that some of them getting thousands, even millions of views, right? Like, you think that it's actually true that Trump is saying, oh, go ahead and start working once you turn 7. So I had to go do my own research, obviously. And here's what I found. So it says, there is no bill currently being passed by former President Donald Trump that changes the general definition of a dependent for tax or legal purposes. However, a provision in the recent past One Big Beautiful Bill Act has caused some confusion regarding the age of dependents. Specifically, the bill modifies work requirements for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP. Under current law, able-bodied adults without dependents must meet certain work requirements to qualify for SNAP benefits. Previously, parents or guardians caring for a dependent child under 18 were exempt from these work requirements. The new bill lowers this exemption age to under 7, meaning that parents with children aged 7 or older would need to meet work requirements to receive SNAP benefits. It's important to note that this change does not alter the definition of a dependent for tax purposes or other federal benefits. Children over the age of 7 still qualify as dependents for tax filings, Medicaid, CHIP, and other programs. The adjustment solely affects SNAP work requirement exemptions. Additionally, One Big Beautiful Bill Act includes several other provisions, such as making the 2017 Trump-era tax cuts permanent, increasing the child credit from $2,000 to $2,500 temporarily through 2028, introducing $1,000 Trump accounts for children born between 2024 and 2028, which can be used for education or first-time home purchases upon turning 18, implementing stricter work requirements for Medicaid and SNAP recipients. The bill has passed the House and is currently under consideration in the Senate, where further revisions are expected. So only in the US would you have like a government literally putting money aside for your children, for your children's futures, and then still get backlashed and lambasted for that. Only in the USA, and that is why I think it's the greatest nation on earth, to be honest, because talk about privilege, right? That is privilege, in my opinion. And so you see, I'm not really sure why these folks are running with this misinformation. I'm of the opinion that this is an absolutely stellar bill. And if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest fan of DJT, right? I live in Canada. He's threatened us time and time again with like tariffs and like annexation, right? But yeah, I think this is absolutely a good thing for the Americans, especially when you have folks like the EBT Queen that is just riding the system and the taxpayers blatantly and bragging about it as well. In fact, I'm going to make a video about a girl that actually, she told herself on TikTok and now she's under arrest, literally, for EBT fraud. I'm going to make that video tomorrow for you.
Baby, when people be like, girl, how you get food stamps? I wish I get food stamps. You better start lying.
You guys. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. Is this a good bill that's being passed by Donald J. Trump? Or did I misunderstand something? Let's use the comments section to share some facts around this bill and educate each other on the subject, just to avoid further misinformation and disinformation. Be sure to like this video and also to subscribe to the channel if you're rocking with me. And until next time, peace.